Greetings. Peace, everybody. Welcome to Community Radio. I'm your host, Kim, and today is Friday. So I made it to the end of the strong on this on the show for the first week or strong. We've been going to shows daily now, and so I have to, confess it's been a journey trying to come up with something to talk about every day. And I know me personally, like I talk a lot, but just trying to seriously like have a topic and everything every day has been a bit of a challenge for me. So I think I'm gonna have to get a little bit more organized and see how I can work that out. But anyway, today is Friday, and again we're back. Before we get into any calls or today's topic, I just want to remind everybody that the phase one challenge has started. It started January the 1st, and this is so that we can, kind of help everybody get through phase one of the training, so that like if you would like to participate in anything that's going on with Anu Nation, like any of the projects that we have, you have to have at least completed phase one. And so, it's still, I just want to remind everybody, there's still no rush on finishing. If you have to take your time, please do so. But for those who have probably been in the class for like 2-3 years that still haven't, completed the class yet, is, we're trying to get you all through it, And if you are like in the middle of the class and you want to be a part of the challenge, doesn't mean you have to start over with everybody else. Like if you're on lesson 5, you don't have to go back to 1 and start with everybody. Just kind of try to keep up. So phase modules 1 and 2, which is just the introduction, and then mind, body, soul, and spirit. That exercise has started, and we give you all about 2 weeks to try to finish up each lesson. And for the lessons that are 7 days long, we give you about 3 weeks to finish up. And that's just to give you all time to prepare, plan out a time when you can do it, where you can be mentally prepared for it, as well as order any supplies or anything that you may need for the exercise. So sometimes, we'll start it and then we'll see, the things that we need you can't get at, your local store or something like that. And then we may have to order it, which prolongs the exercise. And then you'll say, oh, well, since I got to order it, I'll wait. I really don't have money right now, so I'll just wait and get, and then, 2 weeks turns into a month, turns into 3 months, turns into 6 months, and you never get through it. So we're just trying to create like a group of people to help, that can kind of help each other move through each lesson. And it also gives you a chance to kind of commune with other students. So make sure you use the student forum and everything that's available to from the student forum to the app, everything, so that you all can kind of talk with each other, share experiences, ask each other questions, because a lot of times we don't do that. Like we'll send in questions to, Chief about it, and Chief is not going to answer those questions. He'll tell you to ask other students that are going through it with you. So ask each other questions. There's a student forum, and like I said, you can also use the app where you can kind of chat with other students as well. So make sure you look out for that. You can go to seduluhouse.com, and in the search field, just type in Phase 1 Challenge, and you'll be able to get all the information that you need, like each strong, where we are, and tips or something somebody has shared or whatever. All right. So that has begun. So make sure you get signed up for the spiritual training. And also, if you'd like to take any other classes, like everything surrounding or concerning the class material or whatever can be found on seduluhouse.com. That's the school component of Anu Nation. If you would like a reading, ritual work done, any of that stuff, there will be a pop-up box that comes up as soon as you go to seduluhouse.com, so you can schedule everything there as well. Anu Nation is like the parent of all the other websites. You can get more information there. A lot of the information is repeated because, people find us in different ways. All of the shows are archived on Enlightenment and Transformation channel on YouTube. So you can find a lot of the old shows there. And let's see, what else? Is there any other news? I think that's about it. If you have any questions or whatever about anything, this would be a good time to ask. Like, I know some, back in the day, Chief would get upset, not upset, but he would say, don't call in with customer service questions. But you can do that here. Let's see. So that sums up all of the iNews stuff. If you are on the line and you have a question or comment or like to bring up a topic, make sure you press the number 1. The phone number to call in is 515-605-9862. All right. So make sure you just press the number 1 and come in, and I'll bring you in. Today, my topic is kind of scattered because, let me bring in Brother Anwar. Hold on. Greetings.
Greetings. Good day. How's everyone doing today? Come on, Kim. Come on, Kim. You got it. All right. So, I had one thing that kind of has been resonating with me since the men's call, and I want to give a shout out to Brother Dietrich for bringing it to my attention. And it's ended. What he told me was just about music and finding a hobby for release and stuff like that. And my release is music. And I started recognizing something about Anu, and it was always there. It was something that we all recognized. But I just want to bring light to it and give a big shout out to everybody that is artists inside of the group. We got Brother Justin, who is actually a singer. I got a chance to see some of his work on Facebook, and it's completely awesome. I was reviewing Chief's songs on the app, which are awesome also, and I would like to do a music, a song review for that, for Hero or Nore Mail, one of the two. I got to get it together, and then I'll definitely share that with the family. And me and Brother Bamboo or Joel, we're also music producers ourselves. So, I just wanted to bring light to all that, especially Sister Tasha, too. Let me put that one out there. Sister Tasha is a hair designer, and that's a form of her art. Alongside of some of the weaving that she does, she makes baby
crochet.
Crochet, So it's, I think one thing we seem to kind of never mind sometimes is that we're doing all these forms of art and using our talents, our arms, legs, ears, and we're using all these talents to make things and express ourselves. And I just wanted to give a big shout out and put some light onto all the people that I know so far in Anu that's participating in it and participating in some kind of art form. And we definitely got to sit down and have a good conversation about it and bring more focus to it. Because I think as a culture, I think one of the main, one of the coin things or one of the asterisk things, one of the main perspectives of each culture is the artwork that we do and the art that we bring forth. Back in the day, and I meant to tell you, and we'll probably talk about this a little later, is that movie that you were speaking about yesterday was completely awesome, and it really broke down that culture is a lot of things here. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things sacred to our cultures, and just on the topic is that there was pottery, there was meta-nature, there was all these things that we use to express ourselves, and they're all artful. So I just want to bring light to that whole situation. I think we definitely need more of that and a lot more recognition between that. So.
Yeah, I was actually speaking with somebody yesterday, kind of about the same thing. It's like what a lot of people don't realize when coming into Anu and this community that's being built is that it's not to put out anybody's, to like douse the fire of anybody's skills or art or whatever it is that they do. It's like, no, bring that with you, because everybody can do something. You know what I mean? There's a space for everybody within a community. And I was just recently listening to an old show that Chief did where he was speaking on that, where he was like, when you're building a community, you have to look around and see what's needed. Like, everybody can't be priests. Everybody can't be, everybody can't just be one thing. Everybody can't come in and be a healer. You need a little bit of everything. And so he was just kind of going through the Orisha. He was like, right now we need some Ogun men and some Yemoja women, because, Ogun can, he's that acidic energy, or he's, he brings that I don't want to say fire, but he's that breakdown energy or whatever. But then you need some Yemojas to make children, take care of children. But then sometimes Ogun gets overheated, so you need some Oshun women. Then Oshuns can be kind of flaky, so then you need, so it's like he was going through all the Orisha saying, like, everybody is needed. Everybody, you need Obas, you need this, you need that. And a lot of times when we come in, it's like everybody wants to do the same thing, or they forget about what their talent is. And, I was speaking with somebody yesterday, and that's kind of what they were speaking about. I'm like, no, like, we need everything, everybody. Don't discount yourself just because maybe you can't break down the Kabbalah or, whatever it may be. Like, you may be great at something else. Maybe that's not your energy or your role. So, don't discount yourself. You just have the second exercise in the class is trying to figure out what you're here to do. So that's just how important it is. As soon as you jump into the training, you're trying to figure out, okay, what am I here to do? Me specifically, because only I can do that. You know what I mean? So, thanks for bringing that up. And speaking of music, I was thinking about that the other day too. What do you think? Where do you think music is headed? Because, I used to be like super. I'm like a music fan. I love music. I, have played music, everything. I really do love, music, but like, I haven't listened to very much in a very long time. And I used to get sometimes get inspiration and get kind of fired up about things through music. That was one of the ways that, kind of gets me going. But it's like, I've been like recycling a lot of old stuff. I don't know. It's like my ear is kind of tired of the way or the direction that music is going in. I'm wondering, like, what's the new thing? Like, how is music evolving? Because it seems like it's just kind of going, it's devolving or not really going anywhere. We had every now and then we had new spurts of different types of music. Like, hip hop was like the last one, like the creation of that. So I'm like, what's the new thing? Back in the day, classical went to jazz, you had jazz, you had, Afrobeat, you had, all these new things kind of coming out. But now it just seems, or maybe I'm just not plugged in because I'm old now. But I'm just like, I'm sick of, I'm so honest. The last thing I listened to was the latest Tribe Called Quest. No, J. Cole, the latest, last J. Cole project. And it's cool, but I was just like, I'm kind of tired of even hearing hip hop at this point. And like, those are two like really good, groups or whatever. It's not like it's trash or garbage or anything. I was just like, I don't want to hear another person rap. I was, going through some documentaries the other day, and it's like another hip hop documentary put out how did hip hop start or what was the beginning and all. I was like, I don't want to see nothing else about hip hop. I'm just like, what is the new thing? Where is this going? Because it just seems so dead to me.
Okay. I believe in what Chief said. Well, I know what Chief said. I know in what Chief said. Let me correct that. There's nothing new that's going to develop out of music. But I believe there's an acidic breakdown that happened last year of it, that Ogun. And that's the reason why we were looking at people like making fun of rappers, and we started looking at the new people that were coming up, and even the R&B or just music in general. You start looking at all these people, and we just got tired of hearing that same okie doke that mass media tries to promote. So, you know, it was that acidic breakdown, and everybody now is doing what you were just saying is like, I reference old school music just so I could get by throughout the year. Now, I have faith, and I think, and this is my thinking of it, is that we're going to experience a new form of music that's going to resonate with a lot of people this year. And the only reason why I say that, because like breaking down what Chief was saying on Chief Speak this week, is that it's a manifestation. I'm not saying for the whole year, but that day that he was talking about was Manifestation Day. It's time to put things in light. I know for a fact, for myself, I am doing all the things that I thought of last year. So now I'm actually in a more for the so far from this beginning of this fiscal year. That's what I've been doing, is making all these things come to light, or trying to make all these things and working on them every day to make these things come to light. So like I said, I have faith that we're going to see a new form of something, of a musical composition come out. Musically, you know what I'm saying? Musically, I think as an artist, most artists have their paintbrushes. So some people will be rappers, some people will be singers. I think there's going to be a real clear, identifiable sound or tone that might come out. But that's just my oracle from this year expectation. I don't know. My prediction. No, I don't know. I don't see it, and I don't know if I'll be the one to do it or if somebody else might be the one to do it. It just, I know for a fact, I feel, and I predict that we're going to see something new coming out in music that's going to strike a higher vibration to people. And I hope so. Because, just having conversations with the community, with the AMU community, and just not only that, just outside at the barbershops and places like that, it's just a lot of people are just like, they're tired of the okie doke, same old, and a lot of people, to me, have taken like little spiritual quests on themselves. So, whatever culture they might be representing, but there's a vibrational change going on. You can definitely hear it in people's tone.
There is. So, but I'm wondering, I think there is a spiritual awakening, or, just a shift in everybody's consciousness going on. And that's what makes me wonder, like, how are we processing inspiration or sound now? You know what I mean? Because it seems like that's where it would come from. Like, what created hip-hop to be able to transmit a thought or transmit a thought in that particular way. So it's like now it seems like everybody is so scattered. Everybody, I dip in a little bit of this. Let me do a little Islam. Let me do a little Sufism. Let me be a little Hindu. I'm going to be a little this. I'm going to be a little that. And it's like everybody's so scattered and so all over the place. I'm just wondering, like, what comes out of that? How would you project it? Like, what does it sound? What does that sound like? Is what I'm asking. And so I don't know. It just made me think of that, because I was just like, I'm just so bored right now with music. I really am. And I like would play around with different stuff. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm sick of, I keep going back to old stuff, recycling old stuff. I was like, let me try DJing. So I was like, because that's something I've always wanted to learn how to do. And I remember like when I was in college, I learned a little bit, you know what I mean? So I was like, hey, I'll go back to that. Then I started messing around with this computer software. I was like, you know what? This is not it. I was like, I was learning how to do it with the turntable. I'm like, all this stuff, this computerized stuff. I was like, I can't do it. So I was just trying to find a way to channel some of the things that I am feeling or learning and everything, trying to find a way to transmit that into sound. And so that's kind of what, the music, that's kind of what, music is for me. I'm trying to, we had, I have to say we had the whole neo soul, what you would call, I guess, neo soul movement, where music was a little bit more conscious or whatever. And, that's kind of burned out a little bit. You know what I mean? Then everybody started trying to do conscious. Everybody's so conscious now. We got all the poetry. I even got sick of poetry, spoken word. I was just like, oh, so burnt out on that too. So I think it's just the way I'm hearing, or I'm just not finding a match, I guess, to where I'm moving spiritually, and I'm trying to find it. And I guess we have to be the ones to bring that forth. I just haven't figured it out yet. So I was like, let me ask somebody that's into music. So I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
I would like to say, like, there's a lot of the stuff you said. So here's one of the points. How will it translate? I'm related to Serpent in the Sun, the movie that you sent me yesterday. Mm-hmm. Remember how when the oppressors came and they seen the deity that they said was evil, they interpreted it as being an evil thing because they were seeing the reflection.
Right.
I think art in general, and for the last 3 decades, last 2 decades, about 20 years, let's just say about 20 years, 2 decades, we have seen people express their art, and with their art, you start seeing the mentality of how those people are thinking. So I don't think it's that process would change. I think that's like a foundational process of it. So when you're going, a lot of us will start seeing the art that resonates with us and the art that's like, oh, whoa, I can't. No, I don't even want that in my peripheral or my. Yeah. So, and I think that will be one of the biggest interpretations of the vibrations that we have. Just the way where the person is at in their own vibration, in their own spirituality, and their own sense of what looks good and what doesn't look good. And let's just say, for example, you got like the emo. I'm sorry, I said the emo culture, where like a lot of their art, and when I say art, I'm using music, visual arts, and I'm using like just anything that would be considered underneath that whole art. I'm not just talking about music, but if you look at some of the stuff that they have, a lot of it's like borderline depressing. So you look at that stuff, and me, I'm like a happy-go-lucky dude. I like to see sunshines with smiles on them. So when I look at that, it's like it's completely against my vibration. So I think a lot of the art that we'll see will be expressions of that person's mind state at the time. And for the people it might resonate with, it will, but I have a feeling a lot of us are trying to see more light in their lives, and it just goes into the conversations that I've had with the people. So I could see something good coming out of it, and I really think we're going to get away from if we allow. See, and this is another thing, when you start talking about like mass media and not controlling your creative flow and having other particular groups control the type of music and art that you produce, if you allow them to continue to give you that sex, money, drugs, and violence to you, and you accept that into your household, then you're going to continue down that path. But for the ones that, and I see more of these, for the ones that say, yo, I don't want that playing in my house, or I don't want to even hear that going in my car, or share that with my children, they're going to flow into what we see into better sound of music, better sound, better visual art. And I think that's how the table is going to turn. You know, everything is really coming into independent sources. And nothing as an independent, as mass media, you know, look, mass media, mass news. Who really listens to CNN and believes them right now? You know, most people, they're going to go online and they're going to read article. They're going to either look at a independent news source and go from there. And I believe that music in general has turned like that anyway. Most artists that are coming out have full control of their music. They have full control of their YouTube pages. They have full control of their Facebook pages. They're promoting their concept of music. Now, whether we agree with what content that they're bringing, and that's on the listener or the viewer. So, you know, and I think like even this last little stuff that we were talking about just the other day about quote unquote conscious community, like a lot of that debating and not coming to the table with anything and working, that's dead to me. For me, I can't. Look, I don't even go to your source anymore to even get the information I used to be able to get. So I'm not going to waste my time even just clicking on your page. That's just me. So, and I'm not, and me personally, I'm just not with the bandwagon. I don't like just going with the crowd. I'm that one person that will kind of see the crowd and just see where it goes. And if it goes into a direction that I might like it, I might join them. But then if it's not in something that resonates with me, I'm going to move to the side. So, but I, like I said, I think there's a lot of people like that. I think there's a lot of people like I've been talking with that literally they're opening themselves to something greater. So
yeah. I don't know. I've been really digging performance art lately, and a particular artist in general has been really interesting to me. But let me bring in another caller. This is 618. 618. 618.
Come on down.
I'm sorry.
Greetings.
Hey, I need a few minutes. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me go to 347. 347. 347.
Peace, family. How you guys doing?
Peace.
It's Michelle.
Peace. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Enjoying the conversation as usual. And I was hearing you guys talk, and I remembered a conversation from yesterday, and I was thinking about today's music. And today's music is so mechanical that is just, I think that's why it's so hard for me to listen. I mean, I'm not a music maker, but I'm a music lover. And I particularly enjoy hip-hop from like the 90s. And I haven't enjoyed hip-hop in a very long time. I actually wanted to recommend this young rapper that just came out. She's from New York, and she's called Young Ma. She is she's out of the closet lesbian, and she talks about it in her music. She's so real.
I've heard it.
You've heard of her? She's so good. I really enjoy her. Even though there are aspects of her that I don't agree with, I really enjoy her artistry. And I can say that that's the first one in a very long time that I enjoyed. But that could be me being biased because I like that New York grit style rapping.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I've heard a couple, like, no, I've actually only heard one of her songs, actually. And I saw her perform. I don't know, the whole package is just too off for me. I can't even get past it. I just can't. I don't know, like, to even want to listen to anything else, because it's so dysfunctional to me. Like, the whole, yeah. I was like, I can't. I just can't.
No,
I'm like a misogynistic lesbian. Like, really?
Yeah. See,
this is so turned around.
More polite than I would have said it.
But this is the sign of the times, right?
A lot more polite than I would have said it. So I'll leave that one just as that.
Yeah, I just couldn't. I actually saw her perform on somebody's show once, and I was just like, and this was the first time really. I had heard it, like, just in, driving to the store or something. It might have been on the radio. I didn't even know who she was. And I was looking, I'm watching, looking at her, whole disposition or whatever. And I remember reading an article once about her. But I'm like, it's just so backwards. It's just so off to me. I'm like, you're a female, or you're a lesbian who is, I guess through her image of what men are and what they look like or behave like, she's, portraying that, and at the same time being so disrespectful and just like to women at the same time. Just like, oh my God, you're it's just too long. I don't know. I can't even twist my mind that in that many different directions to even just be like, okay, I'll listen to what you have to say. I don't know. It's just me. But if no diss to you, Michelle, or anything like that, because she is like one of the biggest things going right now. And I think it's because she's so anti every other type of female rapper. You know what I mean? Like right now, it's kind of like the whole back in the day. You had MC Lyte, who was like different from a lot of other rappers, or I don't know.
I don't know, Sister Michelle. If we're in the car together and we're talking, and that CD's on the CD deck, that's going right out the window, yo.
No. I haven't bought her CD or anything. I'm not supporting her or her message, but the music, the beats, and how she rhymes and how she lyrically, is the only person I can say, you know what, I'll check out her songs. That's not that bad. It's not on like heavy rotation. It's not. Yeah. But it's a sign of the times. It's an unfortunate sign of the times. I feel like every other rapper now or every other musician relies too heavily on machinery and covering up their mistakes, and even the quality of the music. I feel like it's just so bad. It's so unhealthy. It doesn't bring you life. For example, I know Chief did a show and he spoke about Stevie Wonder and how he has a project that every time he listens to it, he notices something different. And there's a big difference between that kind of music back then till now. There's nothing really natural. There are no wooden instruments. There are no instruments actually being played. So, and it's really sad, honestly. But in my home, a while ago, I bought a djembe. And me and the babies are always, knocking on the drums. And as soon as we start playing the drums, especially as a family, the vibration in the house just changes. We feel
definitely
more energized. Oh, it's so beautiful. I don't know, like, if you guys have experienced that. I mean, probably at a gathering or something, but for us, it's not the norm. So every time we play the drums, it's just such a beautiful experience, and it's because it's the wood and the skin of the animal, and the babies have their own little hand drums, and I think that's the difference, and that's why I don't think anybody but people who are in that same vibrational state really enjoy all that trap music and the dabbing and all that nonsense. I can't get into that either, though.
Yeah, I think it's so critical and very important to always have musical instruments in the house. I know I have drums, guitar, used to have a piano, and it's like even when you're not playing those instruments, just the general, like, just talking or just the general, the regular noise in your house, you can sometimes hear it vibrate against the strings of the guitar, or you can hear, you can just hear the vibrations coming off of the instruments just in just day-to-day movements. And it does something to you. You know what I mean? And of course, we all know that, music is healing, and, you hit certain notes or you listen to a certain song that's in a certain key. It hits you, hit you in a certain type of way or put you in a certain type of mood. So I think having musical instruments around, like, I cannot be in a house where there are no instruments. I've always had some type of instrument in the house, even if I can't play it. I've always had some type of instrument in the house at all times, no matter where I've lived. I just think it's so important just to have some, like you said, some kind of organic sound around.
That's the word, organic.
Yeah. Let me see if 618 wants to come back in. I know they dropped and picked back up, so let me see. 618, did you have something to say?
Hi, yes, hi everyone.
Greetings.
I was, thank you. I was talking about the whole idea about what the question you asked about where is it going. I agree with the fact that live instrumentation is where it's going, and a lot of underground artists, that's what they use. They play on stage with a live band. Even a lot of your so-called rap artists or your hip-hop artists, a lot of them use live instruments when they're performing. And as far as, I would say, vocal skills are concerned, there's one particular artist that I have been very fond of for a very long time. She's just working with vibration, like working with her actual vocal cord, where when she sings in in chords. Like there are certain parts where she will sing 3 notes at one time.
Yeah.
And I
forget the name of that technique. That's an actual technique. Yeah.
I've got
Who is
that
it?
too, but Layla Hathaway.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's bad.
Phenomenal. Yeah, she is.
Mm-hmm.
And just the whole thing with music, like you said, is different. It's weird to me, but because I listen to so many underground artists, my son actually said to me, he's like, "Mom, you've been listening to the same music for the past years."
Yeah.
I said, "No, I have not." I say I've listened to the same artist, but not the same music. What's the difference, Mom? What's the difference? Same thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, boy,
they don't hear different. Because sometimes I think, is it just that we're just old?
I think so too. And I generally follow the same artist, and if they bring out a new artist, I listen to them. What's his name? Raphael Sadiq. He's brought out a couple of people, and he has one young guy. He's really awesome, and just that whole thing. I'm a singer and a cosmetologist as well, and just that whole creative thing, like working with yourself and working with something. And
yeah.
looking at the hair and analyzing it, it becomes very analytical, especially with music, because you have to be on point, you have to be on key, you have to be using your right and your left brain at the same time. So I don't know. I had the same question about myself, but to answer your question, in my opinion, hip hop came along because of the use of albums. They went back to using albums and using a number of them to switch up the beat and switch up the tone and do something different with it. So that's what I was saying about her voice and using different instruments. Like the one young lady who came in and was talking about the drum. A lot of people are getting away from the techno sound. They, creating samples or those electronic drums and those beats from that. They want something like Erykah Badu said. She uses organic sound, and that's what she likes to vibe to, because it gives you that vibration. It connects with your carbon DNA portion of your DNA. Yep, that was it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just wondering, like, how is sound going to be processed now? With everything being so artificial and so less. I'm just wondering, like especially with kids, because the younger generation are the ones who always come out with something new. Like the old people aren't doing anything really. They're still doing the old stuff. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of it too is sometimes it's just that we're just old. And it's hard for us to even tap into or to even listen to what the kids are doing now, because it's so foreign to us. I even think back to my grandparents, when they came, they were listening to, a certain thing. And then when my mom's generation came around, they turned it into something else. And, it's just like, then they thought their music was crazy. Like with each generation, we think the sound is crazy. We think it's off. Like, oh, it's just not like it used to be. We all say that, as we get old, we just kind of get stuck. But it's like, I don't know. I've been, exploring different, the music of different cultures too. So I find that to be a big relief sometimes too, to tap into other sounds from other cultures, just to see, what's going on with them. How does it sound? You know what I mean? Exactly. I remember I recently saw something on Cuba. Since Fidel Castro passed, everybody's trying to figure out, what's going to happen, what's going on. And they interviewed, I think this is another rapper. So, of course, it was like, even when I'm listening to them and I don't even understand everything they're saying in Spanish, to me it's just like, oh, God, another rapper. I'm just like, again, with this, like, is everybody stuck? Are we still in that? Are we still in it? Like, how long is hip hop going to last? Just that. And I'm not even talking about the beats or the music. I'm just talking about how the messages are carried out. Jazz carried out the message and the emotion or whatever in a certain way, without speaking. Hip hop was vocal. You know what I mean? So you had all these different type of vocal styles, even poetry involved, like you had spoken word that took on a different tradition from, different styles of poetry and or whatever, or how it's presented. So it's just like, now I'm just kind of wondering, like, just how are people getting out thoughts now, and I don't know, maybe most people are artificial now. We're so plugged into social media, and that's like a whole new entity now. Like, everything is so fake. And it's like, I think you still have, like, most of the, even you see it in movies, like most of the movies coming out now are very, especially like with Marvel Comics, like they're making so many movies now just about magic and trying to uncover your own powers and all these kind of things. So I think that's interesting. You got like a lot of superhero type movies out, like Doctor Strange and, all these things that have come out recently. So I think that's interesting. I don't know. What do you all think? The number is 515-605-9862. And we're just talking. There's no particular topic out right now. We're just kind of just going with it, So
one of the things that I would say is that we had last year we had a couple artists that really kind of pressed the norm, the mumble rap kind of conversation. You had the J. Cole's, the Kendrick Lamar's, and I believe we're going to see a lot more lyricists come out within the next couple years, within this year, because a lot of people just don't want to listen to that. Let's listen to that stuff that doesn't make any sense at all to us anymore. And once again, me being inside of a hip hop community and seeing people, seeing the artists that I deal with, that I've seen them actually come from like not rapping to actually putting a lot of thought inside of their raps. So I think the lyrical content for rap and hip hop in general is going to go to another plateau or another standard. And one of the things I will mention is that, when we start talking about mumble rap and trap, not really trap music, but dab music and all that stuff, that music was really based for people to be dancing to in the club. And it really wasn't something that you sit back and just relax and listen to, because 9 out of 10 times when you relax and listen to it, you're going to be crunk. So I really don't think that was that music was placed in the rotation because of a certain sales and certain way that, once again, people that control the mass media would be able to promote. And it was ignorant. It was ignorant music. It was music that, you could sell this to anybody and everybody's gonna like it. We're gonna push it in their head 15 times a day until someone goes out and buys it or changes the mind frame of a certain community. So there's a lot of things inside of that I will say, but like Chief said the other day, we went from the drug dealer that was trying to get out the hood to the drug dealer being the star of the hood to the dope fiend that is now categorized as the man in the hood. So like, who was leading us? Who's leading that? Who was the one that initiated that concept? So we got to ask that question when it comes to our music. And the same thing, and it reflects on what we were listening to last year.
On the door. Yeah. I even as you were talking, I was just thinking about I remember something Mos Def said on the Black on Both Sides album, and he was saying, people ask all the time, where's hip hop going? And he says hip hop is going where the people are going. And so when I think about that, I'm just thinking about, where are the people going? And again, going back to the younger generation, they're usually the ones that bring about all these new styles and new, new sounds. Pretty much the old people aren't really producing much anymore. And so I don't know, it just, just as you were talking, I was just thinking about that. And so I think it's like we have to kind of analyze the kids and say, like, where are kids going right now? What's going on with them? Where are they going? Because even like you said, like the whole dab culture or the dab music and stuff like that, that was really, that was, I guess, that was underground, so to speak. These kids coming out of Memphis and, all these, little places or whatever, just playing around, and it just kind of blew up. And it got the attention of, mainstream media or whatever. So, I don't know, I guess we just have to kind of look at, where are the kids moving? because the old people are going backwards. We're all, into spirituality and everything. And you notice that, like, the older, when you were younger, you weren't interested in that. Your parents telling you go to church and study God and all this kind of stuff. You were not trying to hear it. You know what I mean? It's only when we get old and, we're looking at all our mistakes in life and trying to fix certain things that we start to search inward and study religion and all this other kind of stuff. I don't think kids are necessarily doing that. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but
mm-hmm.
like I'm just thinking it from my point of view of my oldest son,
mm-hmm.
and he listens to. I don't want to say he's questionable because I think the type of music he's listening to is very comparable to what I grew up on, but a little
mm-hmm.
bit more. I would say a little bit more sassy. I mean, that's the only word that comes to my mind. And they is sassy, right? No, because the stuff that he's listening to actually has lyrical content.
Yeah.
Do I agree with a lot of stuff that they talk about? No, not really. But for my oldest son to be who he is, or just resonate off that, I can see how it relates to the youth. And the youth, I'm really noticing there's like maybe there's like maybe a certain there. I guess it goes by neighborhood and upbringing, because there's
mm-hmm.
like people, there's the youth that are going to stay on the trap music, stay on the dab music, stay on some conscious
mm-hmm.
music, stay on some R&B, and you'll see those communities of just kids dealing with those newer styles of these genres that,
mm-hmm.
It's dependent on their mind state. And like I said, the dab music, once again, dab music was dance music. Everybody was
mm-hmm.
doing that with the dance. So
yeah. Because they ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, well, we can't hate on the dance because the dance correlates with the music. So I think as long as we're actually using the energy into manifestation of something that would help us as a community become greater, I think that's positive. So now, minus some of the conversations about like drug use and all that, and stuff that I don't agree with, sexual styles, sex styles, and stuff like that. That's something I can't even resonate with. So
yeah. I don't know. It's just. But I'll dab on them. It's interesting. You'll dab on them.
My old ass will dab on you.
Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, let me just remind everybody, we got about an hour left in the show. If you have a question or comment, on topic, off topic, doesn't matter, just press the number 1. The number to call in is 515-605-9862. And we're just kind of going with it today. I did have a couple of things I wanted to talk about, but now that we've kind of gotten off on this, I completely forgot what they were. I was going through some of the old shows, some of the old Chief Speak shows, and listening to them, and it was just interesting because they're only about a year old, and it's just interesting to hear, like some of those people that were on those calls are still here today, and I can just hear the growth in everybody. I remember Anwar's earlier calls, Sequoia, her husband. Even myself, like I can just kind of hear, I can look then at where we were and now where we are, and there's been like significant growth, you know what I mean? So I give thanks for that, but, even in the messages in some of the older shows, it's still, Chief was saying the same thing then, like it's about culture and, things like that. Even some of the questions people were asking, like now I remember one of the reasons why some of those Chief Speak shows ended, or why they'd gone to a different format, is because he was just saying that the people were just too disrespectful and the questions were just not of quality, asking, kind of senseless questions. And so the comments and questions have gotten a lot better, you know, even now, like on the community show, we have just a better quality of participation and everything. So I give thanks for that too. Everybody's grown so much, you know. So I don't know. It was just interesting because I was going through the shows trying to find something to talk about. And I was just like, gosh, to me, I don't know, I'm at a point, like I said, it just seems like everything is kind of repetitive. But I do realize that we have like a lot of new people that are coming in. And even speaking with someone yesterday who was new to the show, it just, you know, still kind of, it reminded me that we're still, you know, even though a group of us kind of came in around the same time, there's still new people coming in, and they're on different levels too. And there's still, you know, a need to go back to some of those lessons and to repeat some of those lessons. So I guess we got to, you know, keep speaking on it. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I just find, you know, even in the conversation that we're having, we're talking about culture and just a reflection of where the kids are with culture. And it just made me think, you know, what is the culture? I was watching, what was it? I don't know. I can't even remember. But they were speaking about Donald Trump and how he's promoting this New York culture now. And they were asking, what is New York culture? You know, what is it? And so, I don't know, it just makes me think about the kids, like we're talking about music and everything, and they are reflecting, I guess, their aspect of where culture is right now. And so, you know, we as older folk, you know, we're listening to old stuff, neo soul, like all that stuff is like 30 plus years old. And, you know, you don't even realize it. Like I'm thinking about, you know, Black Star and stuff like that. This stuff is like 30, 40 years old. And I'm playing it as if it's, you know, I'm playing it all the time or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, wow, I didn't even realize how old it was. And so much has changed. If you think about, like, we've had so many changes within 30, 40 years. And we still have some of those same groups. You know, you had the New Tribe come out. And, you know, it's cool. It was cool. It wasn't, for me, it wasn't earth-shattering or anything like that. It wasn't like, oh, man, you know. It was all right. You know, it was cool. I think I've probably only listened to it once since I've had it. So, I don't know.
Sister Kim.
Mm-hmm.
There's one thing I recognized about just hip-hop in general, and I don't want to break it down something, is that, you know, the hip-hop has grown into such a culture that you had elders, right? So you actually have elder groups and artists that could have been a little bit more like a council of elders for hip-hop that could have been more directing the new artists and the youth into better understanding of where the music and how the music relied, and take it that, you know, I've been into a lot of conventions with a lot of different artists at that, but there was never like even if you go into like Zulu Nation and stuff, like there was never a directive of our hip hop as growth, and that's the reason why I think hip hop got taken over. Rap music, let's just say rap music got taken over by the mainstream. So and that's the only reason they never built a hard and soft protocols. They never did that. There's a lot of things that as elder artists that they could have brought into the new generation. And you know, that's kind of a common thing within all of our communities, believe it or not. So that's kind of something to really kind of think about.
But should there be like should there be like hard protocols in something as creative as music? You know, because even when I think back, I think about artists like Coltrane. You know, there was a time when Coltrane and even Miles Davis, like they played very traditional jazz, you know, played all the jazz standards. And then everybody got a little wigged out when Coltrane started going esoteric. when Miles Davis was like, when he came back out and started, playing, being a little bit more contemporary and infusing his stuff with contemporary sounds and doing projects like Bitches Brew and, all this other kind of stuff. So I don't know. It's like, I think some people can evolve. I don't know if it should be, because like most of these styles that we have that we kind of love now and that we're so into were like a rebellion against the so-called hard protocols of jazz. Like jazz should be played this particular way. This is how we play it. This is how it goes. You have jazz standards. Don't dare try to change a standard. And you had those people that were like, you know what? Nah, we got to change this. This is going, it's not going anywhere. It's not reflecting what's going on. You had like Marvin Gaye doing the same thing. He came out, to have Motown's real squeaky clean kind of sound. And then he went a different way and changed some of the messages and things in his songs as well. So I don't know. Should there be hard protocols in art forms like music?
Let me define what I say hard protocols. You remember that hook that every time someone came out in Apollo and they got booed, thrown off the stage with? That's a hard protocol. If you can't perform your instrument, you can't rap, you can't sing. That should have been one of the things that should have been highlighted. But we allow a lot of the music that came out is like the rappers didn't really start to develop themselves until like maybe the third album in, and after that they sold garbage sounding music for the first two albums, and when they start really trying to rap, they don't sell anything. So I think there should be a level of layers that were grown into an artist before they went mainstream, and I noticed that even just working in the studio for 13 years and seeing groups start from the first step to when they actually put out their first album to when they put out their third album, and recognizing the growth that's inside of that. But I think there should have been like at least a minimum idea of how music should really sound or what should really resonate with people.
Really?
So, just a
Isn't
minimum.
That kind of limiting though?
Yeah,
like what,
it is. But we're talking about mainstream play. If we're talking about underground amateur play, let that go with no limitations. But when we're talking about like mass promotion and mass marketing of multiple different aspects of music and art, there should have been a learning stage for them to be looked at as professionals. Because even like I do PA and sound reinforcement too for shows. Like just going to shows and you can tell the difference between an amateur act and a professional act. Professional act is going to be there at least for their mic check, make sure their microphones are tested and all the things are checked. Amateur acts usually come late. They ask for a whole bunch of things to happen, and it's just some of that stuff, just the grooming of art before it's actually promoted, and that goes like into our spiritual journey. Before we really kind of go into a spiritual trip, we got to learn hard lessons like don't sit in front of your shrine in a disrespectful way. Like I had to learn something yesterday. Like, look, the four rules. I finally got them. I do it. I'm trying to get it. Hopefully I get them now. Anger, fear, doubt, and greed. I got it.
There it is.
anger, fear, doubt, and greed. We step in front of our spirituality, and we don't know that we're there in front of it, and so we learn the lesson and go from there. So I think there's for a professional act, and let's use that word for a professional artist. There should be a stage. Stages of growth that they went through in order for that to be a mainstream marketed thing. So, and I think that alone right there would improve our music quality.
Yeah. Let me bring in another caller real quick. This is 864. 864.
Greetings, Sister Kim. Greetings, Brother Omar. Everyone. How y'all doing today?
Well.
How are you?
Well,
this is one of them days, man. I don't know.
I understand. Like, it is one of those days, but I can't. It's like it's one of those days, but yet there is some silver linings, I guess, and I just gotta roll with those and focus on that part of the day. But
yeah.
I just kind of came in on y'all talking about the youth and the children, and I guess how the music influenced them. And I'm all about the children. That's what I work with and love and my passion is. But I feel like I'm kind of somewhat in between on it. Like, you know, I guess, you know, like you're saying music is art, so I don't know if you really can, like, put any type of dictation or rules on art. But I guess for me it'll be the imagery that I think should, like, for going with Brother Omar a little bit, things I think you could control for. It's just the images that are put out there. Like, you know how you was, like, the time you had the show and you had the Cabbage Patch Kids, and you were talking about the children looking like the Cabbage Patch Kids, you know, just stuff like that.
Garbage Pail,
like
the Garbage Pail Kids. Yeah.
The Garbage Pail, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the excuse me, the Garbage Pail Kids, just the images to put out there, that young son dude wearing the dresses, you know, it's just, you can express yourself, but I think as far as what people, I just think people should be able to create what they want to create image-wise about what they're hearing, I guess. I don't know, I just don't agree with all the images that are put out there because, you know, you got to fight that. You got to fight that. I mean, people kind of look at what they see more than what they're hearing sometimes, or they catch that beat. But I do like the dance songs. I'm with Omar on that. I do like the dance songs because I be with the youth, and, you know, when they do they juju on their beat, I juju on the beat with them. It's just, it's fun, you know. They don't be talking about anything, but I don't know. It's a connection for me with them, so I'm going to get in there and do it with them too.
Yeah, I think that's important that you don't get so old that you can't relate anymore too. You know what I mean? I think that's really important that you create such a distance between yourself and the youth. Like, you know, Anwar said he'll dab on them. I think that's really important because if they see that you're so disconnected from what they're doing, like you don't become relevant to them anymore. You know, they look at you as like a fossil. Like, they ain't, you know, and they're not paying attention to it. They're not hearing us. You know what I mean? So I think that is important to try to stay in tune as much as you can, you know, somewhat or whatever. I think that's important. Yeah. So I can dig it.
I'll be honest with them. I'll be telling them now, I do these dance with you, but I'll be like, what are you listening to? And you listening to this person rapping about the hood, and now they're rich. They don't even live in the hood anymore. So, like, you're all about what this person is saying, and they don't even, like, live where they talking about anymore. They try to get out, and you're celebrating and wanting to be a part of what they got out of. Not even there anymore. Yeah. So, you know, I do tell them what I think, but I still get down there with them. It's fun.
And you know what? And it does kind of keep you young, because if you ever notice, like if you ever like seen any of your teachers from high school or grade school or whatever, if they're still teaching, do you notice how slow they age? Have you ever noticed that? Like I've seen some of the teachers that are still around teaching that I had, you know, like my daughter has some of the same teachers I had back in the day. And I go and I look at them like, gosh, they still look almost the same. You know, it's like there's hardly any aging. And I think it's because they stay around that youthful energy, you know, so much. They're still around the kids. So you know, they kind of keep you young and flexible and agile or whatever. You know, so I think it's important that you don't try to disconnect yourself so much from them. You know.
You're right, Kim, because I substitute teaching. I saw when I went to one of the middle schools, I saw like 2 or 3 of my middle school teachers, and they look like you're saying. I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, you haven't changed a bit. You know, like I'm looking at. I'm only 30, but still, I was in middle school. What, like 18 years ago? Yeah, that's right.
I'm only 30. Think about when you were a kid, when you saw somebody that was 30. You thought they were you thought they were ancient.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. I'm 30. I'm official now. Then. I don't mind it. Oh, thank you. But yeah, you're right though. They 18 years ago and they look the same. And then one lady, she was like, "Well, I put on a little weight," and I'm like, "Well, I can't remember all that, but it's not a lot." She looked at her hair. She didn't even change her hair. That's how much the same she was.
Wear the same hair and everything. That's funny that they still wear the same hair, but it's like they don't really age that much. But 30 is old.
Well, I celebrate it because I'm looking forward to 40 and 50. I don't know. I haven't thought about 60, but I'm looking forward to. I celebrate it. I'll be old. I'm glad.
Good. Embrace the change. Embrace the change. So that's good.
Can I add something?
Sure.
I want to say I am. Yes,
I'm sorry. I was thinking about what everyone was saying, and I also at the same time had the thought about what was discussed about chaos. Everything is real chaotic right now. So there has to be, spiritually, a breakdown in everything to bring about the goodness or the greatness and have a building point. And within the chaos, there is beauty. So I think that the kids are not afraid. They're working from an angle where they are being who they feel like they are at that moment. And not feeling like they have to mask themselves or try and do the old school thing when they're doing exactly what they want to do. They're more free thinking than a lot of us. And
of course,
I think the building block to becoming new, kind of like what we said about Coltrane and Miles Davis, they were willing to step outside of the box. Now, we look at it and like, oh, my God, this is just really chaotic. But I think as chaotic as it is right now, I think there's only beauty on the other side of that.
Yeah. The question is who's going to bring some of the order to the chaos, because there's always a chaotic energy and there's always a chaotic force. And Chief spoke on a recent Chief Speak show about, a changing of the guard, something new emerging and things like that, and old things changing. And the question is, the men are supposed to bring the direction and the order. So then I have to look at the males within young people now. Like, where are they going? Where are they headed? And it's like, even in hip hop, you'll find that like most of the female rappers are harder than the men. It's like the roles are reversed at this point. Using the example Michelle was talking about with Young Ma, like, I mean, she is harder than some dudes. You know what I mean? And it's like, if we're looking to the men like we're supposed to bring order to the chaos, I don't know. That's kind of scary.
You know what? I'm not trying to knock men. Oh, go ahead, Brother Omar.
Once again, look who's bringing the narrative. So, whose spirit is that they're trying to push onto us? One thing I know truthfully is that there's a lot of men that are in some kind of real hard point when they start doing their rapping. It's just the mainstream is going to promote that agenda. So once again, we got to break through that narrative and understand that we have to have culture, our own culture, and our own decisions and our art that we put out forward.
Good point. You were about to say something, Carissa?
Yeah, I'm thinking too, like, you know, just being completely honest for me anyway. I think that we also got like a lot of femininity on these men, and
got a
like,
lot of what?
A lot of like men are feminine these days. Like, I don't know, it's just a lot of feminine around them. I guess being raised by single mothers, but something that really disturbed me, I ran across this morning. It was like on my YouTube feed, and you know, I have recommended for you type things, and there was this Nigerian man that like he went from being a dark-skinned male to a light-skinned female, you know, like as far as how he sees himself. And that just was all the way disturbing, because I'm like, oh my God, this is in Africa now? Like, they're going to the men in Africa now?
Bad.
Like, how is that really, like, disturbed me? It really, it's just, what in the world?
They're getting attacked really hard there. You know, they are, you know, you got the missionaries and all that kind of stuff, like, on them super, super tough over there. And that was, you know, like you said, it was completely unheard of at one point. I've even seen, I watch Nollywood movies from time to time. And you even see now, like in Nollywood films, where there is this sexual activities and, you know, all this kind of stuff in those movies. And that's something that, like, they did not play about, you know, for a long time. You know, so it's an interesting kind of shift, you know, because it's something that we look back to. We always look back to Africa. There's a bunch of noise in the back. We always look back to Africa to kind of normalize ourselves. You know what I mean? And when we see that they're off, it's just kind of like, whoa, you know, where is everything going? You know, so I think we have to kind of be mindful of something that you said once before too, is that, you know, in the Osirian story, you find that the Osiris is resurrected in the West. So, you know, we're kind of looked at as being, you know, whatever the future is supposed to hold or something like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just, you know, just looking at the direction of where the young males are going, it's just kind of, I don't know. It's interesting, a little scary.
That confuses me too. The whole like relationship between, at least from my experience, between Africans and quote unquote African Americans. It's like, okay, where I'm from, you don't go to the Africans to get your hair braided. Now, me, just because of the type of person I am, I've always tried to engage because I want to know, you know, and they're African, they're here.
Right.
But from what I see, I don't see women engaging with them. They just come in, do their hair, and that's when I have seen probably Nollywood movies. Anytime I'm there, you know, their movies on, I sit and watch, or I'll ask them questions, talk, and, you know, try to learn a little bit. Most of the time it seems like their predominant language is French or something like that. Yeah. But that's that's been my experiences. But it's like it seems like from my knowledge base, they look at us and we kind of like set the standard as far as beauty. Like, you know, I've heard some of them when they come over here, their parents have said that they're becoming too westernized, you know. But even, you know, like, they wear perms, and it confuses me. But then it's like there's this hatred for us too. So it's like you emulate us as far as the way we look, but you don't like us. I'm confused.
Yeah. I don't think they're emulating us. I think they're emulating American culture, which is not us. You know, it's not the black people. I think they're emulating the white people because, like you said, when you go there, or, you know, if you look at any of their art as far as movies and things like that, like they have taken on like a lot of European kind of stuff, but you have to look at too, like the invasion of what's going on over there right now. Like I was saying, like with missionaries and everything, with them being there, so being such a strong influence over there right now. You know, it's like they're going back in time, like they're like us 100 years ago or something. You know what I mean? It's like they're going backwards.
And like what aspect? Then, like socially or just
everything?
Oh, wow.
I mean, you think about like just how popular Christianity is there now. I mean, they out Christian the Pope. You know what I mean? It's like they are severely, they are super strong in that. You know, in that right now, they completely rejected like a lot of traditional ways. Some, I was probably say probably mostly like in the cities and things like that. And then you have a lot of Asian influence as well now, you know, because they've come over there and have kind of taken over too. So you got like all this different kind of all these different foreign cultures kind of coming in and taking over, you know. You've heard Chief say it, like when he goes back, he's like, I'm more African than you are. You know, you calling me Obruni, you know, calling me a white man, but I'm more African than you. You know, so I don't, you know, we always like to look back. You know, we look back to Africa. But like Chief said, it's the calculation and thought of African culture, not necessarily where they are right now. Yeah. It's an interesting thing going on. That's why I was just thinking, you know, just vibing on the whole thing, like where is everything going right now? Because we're global now. You know, it's not just we're not so isolated anymore. You know, with the internet and everything is global. Business is global. Everything is kind of global. So I don't know. It's just interesting. You know, I can tap in and see what's going on in another part of the country and see what the youth are doing there, you know, and everything now. So I don't know. Like I said, I've just been kind of exploring that. I've been really inspired by performance art lately. I don't know. You know.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is mind-boggling for me.
Yeah, but it's important to stay flexible. It's important to, you know, not get old and stiff and not being able to take in new thoughts and new behaviors. That's the same reason why, you know, companies are resistant to hire, you know, maybe like people over 30, because they're so stuck. You know, they're so stuck in their ways and so even in spirituality, you know, where it's really hard for us to pick up on to new ideas and new thoughts, because we're still stuck in the old thought. And even when we come into something new, we're really just looking for the new stuff to kind of validate the old stuff, which is even why, like in certain movies, or even just in mythology in general, you'll find, you know, new gods that come to kill the old gods. Every time, if you look at movies, that's the thing. The new ones come and they kill off the old ones.
And they teach you that in the school with mythology.
Yeah.
I don't know, why do they teach that in schools? So anyway, that was kind of side. Like, you know, like I'm just thinking about everything else you learn in school. I wonder why they even mess with mythology. Like, I don't know.
Well,
it's just different.
It's history. It's history, if you think about it, and it reinforces the culture. So, of course, we're in American culture. What's the parent country or the parent culture? It's like Greek and Roman mythology. So that's all you learn through high school, and it reinforces the ideas and the practices within the culture. You know, I remember studying that stuff, you know, back in the day, and I was like, you know what, I just don't get it. You know, the language threw me off. I was just completely disinterested in it. But now, like, as I got older, I started to see the relevance in it or whatever, but it's just a reinforcement of the particular culture that you're in. So that's why they teach it, because if you look at the behaviors, even in the mythologies of those times, you see the same thing now. And even movies and everything, they reflect the same thing. There are no new movies. Like unless you watch some foreign films and stuff, and even in that case sometimes, like, the storylines are the same. It's just, told in different ways, but the same thing kind of permeates through all the movies. There's really nothing new.
My grandma always said there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
My grandma.
Except for the dab.
Except for the dab. Oh, God. All right, everybody, we got about, go ahead.
That's what people just got to do to break out of their zone, is dab on them, man. People got to learn how to dab, man. If you learn how to dab,
that's all everything.
That's all everything. Dab on.
That's all we are the world. Everybody just dab. That's going to bring everybody together. There you have it.
You don't lean first. Yeah. You don't lean first. You just dab. You don't say anything about leaning.
Oh,
so the lean before you dab.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just interesting. I don't know, but I'm glad Sister Michelle even brought up, just some new artists, because, like I said, I'm just looking. You know what I mean? I'm looking. Sometimes when I'm working, I'll go through, like iTunes or something and see what's out, and it's just like, same old sounds, same, So I don't know. I'm just looking. That's why I have kind of branched out into other mediums that I've never really paid attention to before. And I know I mentioned a particular performance artist in the women's group recently, a few strongs ago. And this particular artist, she even kind of flipped things around where she wasn't just a performance artist, but she turned the tables and made the audience the actual artist. Like, she would become the subject and make the audience engage. And so she has kind of become known as like the grandmother of performance art, or whatever, so to speak. And a lot of her work involves, I would say it's pretty much just they're really rituals that she's doing, live, and getting people to kind of participate in certain things. They're really like ritual exercises. And so, and even because of that, she's kind of come under fire for some of the things that she's done or whatever. But I just find it really, really interesting, because it reflects just people's mind state and where they are. It kind of shows the devolution or devolution of a lot of people, because a lot of the stuff that she does, it's not sadistic in nature, but once the audience gets involved, they turn it that way. So just to see, one of the I've used the example before where she stood before the audience and she put I think it's like 66 or 77 different objects on the table, and she told the people that they could use them on her any kind of way they wanted to. And so at first it started off kind of light, people were just, kind of playing with her hair, or there was a rose on the table. They would, rub the rose against her cheek or whatever. But before it was all over, somebody actually picked up a gun and tried to kill her. And people, started cutting on her and all this other kind of stuff. And it just kind of showed, and she just, she stood there and she took it. But it just kind of showed where people's mind goes. You know what I mean?
They cut her and she took it?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. She took it. She stood there and she took it. Even when the person picked up the gun to try to shoot her, like she went into it knowing full well, what the possibilities were. what could possibly happen. But she was like, I'm going to do it. This is what I'm, she was determined to get through it. So actually, when the person picked up the gun to shoot her, because it was loaded, one of the other
you said it was?
One of the other attendees or whatever, one of the other people that were there, it was like maybe 2 or 3. I think it was like a group of people that kind of tackled them or stopped them from doing it. But it was just, it was just interesting to watch, to see, where the minds of people were, where the minds of people, where it goes, you know what I mean? And I don't know, it was just, to me, like I said, it was just interesting. So I find performance art to be kind of interesting nowadays. I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of getting bored with with music and sound, And then I remember even having a conversation with Chief once about Arrested Development, if you all remember that group. And I remember him saying, like, I was like, oh, I love that group. He was like, back in the day, he thought they were corny. Like, man, this is corny. And now he looks back and he was like, now I kind of see that they were really kind of ahead of their time because they infused so much into their music. Like, they were using natural instruments. They had an elder on stage present. They had a dancer, she was doing African dance. You had a singer. You had a rapper. You had all of these different, they had children on stage. So they had all of these different elements going into their performance all at once. You know what I mean? And so, I think that they were definitely ahead of their time, and it was definitely different in that particular era. I don't even see that now with a lot of artists.
Do you think that people, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that I had a chance to meet him and his wife when they were performing, and it was amazing. And they let me sing for them and everything, and I was so happy, but nothing came out of it. I'm glad it didn't, but it was pretty cool. And it's like you said.
Why are you glad it didn't?
It was because now with my music, it's I just think maybe the industry is ready. I don't know, but I just feel like people aren't ready. And it was like for so many years, I was in the studio, I would perform, I would do this, I would do that, and do a whole lot of stuff. It just seemed like it was hard. Like it was, it was always this door, kind of half open and half closed a little bit. And when I try to push it open, it would be like a foot behind it, so to speak. And it kind of just drained me a little bit. So now I'm more energized and I'm a little bit more focused on a lot of other things. And maybe, I need to be in a different space. Yeah, I'm in a different space, and now it's time for me to pick it up. But back then, it was like, no, it wasn't time yet.
You weren't willing to suffer for your art. That's the goal of an artist. You're supposed to suffer for your art, they say.
Oh my God, it was rough. I mean, I had a lot of distractions, of course, outside of that, and that could have been it. But as far as they were concerned, they were really real people. Like, I've met a lot of artists and a lot of entertainers, and they're like really fake. You think that they're like this really nice person. They're inviting, no matter what their Instagram or their Facebook or YouTube channel says. A lot of these people are like live double lives. Like you meet them in person and they're like, well, who is this? This is like a no-name artist. I remember that one movie, I can't remember, Morris Chestnut. He was like writing songs or something. It was a Christmas movie. And he kept trying to get his music out and get his writings to this artist, and the guy kept playing him to the left and just saying, you're a nobody. And once he heard it, and everybody was all involved in it, he published it. And I can't remember exactly.
Let me see if I can mute it. Somebody's got a lot of background noise. Okay.
And I can't remember that's okay. I can't remember what happened after that. Like, but once he heard it, he published it, and you know, was like, you know, yeah, I wrote this, and you know, I did my thing, but he didn't write it, you know, and it came out that he didn't. But it was just kind of like that, their personalities, and I'm sure everybody knows that. But coming from personal experience, it's like it's real, and he's like him and the entire stage crew, they're amazing, they're phenomenal.
Okay, yeah, I think they were pretty cool group.
Yeah, and it showed in their performance and the things that they were doing too.
Let me bring. I think this is Chief. Let me bring Chief in for a minute. We got about 20 minutes left. So if you have any questions or comments, make sure you press the number 1. Greetings, Chief.
Peace. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right. I was just going to say that in regards to the whole conversation about where music is going and whatnot, you all don't really need any new music. You know, it's like, as I'm hearing it, it's reminding me of people who sometimes email me and ask me to do shows on certain subjects, or sometimes I get emails from people wanting private lessons saying, you know, I want to study with you, Chief. I want to study with you. You know, you're just that, and the third. And then I'll say, okay, well, are you in my class? No, I didn't sign up for the class. Where do I sign up for that? You know, so it's like a lot of times we end up ignoring the stuff that's right in front of us and the amount of effort and work that artists have already put in, because we're stuck on hyper-consumer mode. Where's the new thing? Where's the new thing? Where's the new thing? And sometimes we don't understand that music itself is a learning experience. So the truth is, if you've completely saturated yourself with a particular genre or a particular style, and it's all in you, then now it's time for you to no longer be the consumer, but now be the producer. So some of you should be picking up some instruments and, you know, learning how to play little things and then sharing those with your children. That was why we had that emergence of hip hop in the late 70s and early 80s. Number one, because you still had music in the schools. So children were required to either learn an instrument or join the school choir, but they were surrounded by that. And then, of course, there was a heavy proliferation back then of people still going to church. So every Sunday or every Wednesday during choir practice, you were around live instrumentation and people who could sing and whatnot. So when hip-hop was originated, the original beats were live, you know, you listen to like some of the first studio-produced projects like Sugar Hill Gang. They used live musicians, you know, Nile Rodgers and stuff like that. So it's really, when you ask, like, what are the young people doing, you got to first ask, what are the parents bestowing upon them in terms of artistry? If you've never sat down and played an instrument with your child or sat them in front of quality music and say, here, listen to this, and then pointed out to them the composition of the piece and the orchestration and the instrumentation, and had them almost even do a book report on it, then you can't really expect anything to come from them. They don't have anything to pull from. And it's evident by, even if you look in the 90s, I think I heard that earlier, like, you know, someone said, I think it was Michelle said she likes the music of that era. Look at a lot of the titles to the MCs. You had words like funky, you know, funky this or funky that, or soul this or soulful that, you know, even last names like Rock, J Rock, P Rock, you know, because people were still pulling from their past generation's genre of music and wanting to surpass that, to take that energy and surpass it. So that's why the sampling was so heavy. But nothing was really created in the early 2000s. There was no, you know, there was nothing. At least in the 90s, you had New Jack Swing, but there was really no music style in the early 2000s, with the exception of maybe reggaeton. And reggaeton, it wasn't really a genre. It was nothing really. But so the thing that, like I would just say, is that y'all don't need any new music. Y'all need new music like most listeners need to hear a new lecture from me. Y'all ain't even digested and synthesized the old lectures, but you want the next one. Y'all ain't even synthesized and digested Fela or Prince or Michael. There's so much inspiration in that stuff right there. Take Tribe Called Quest catalog. Lord Finesse, take his catalog. You know, there's so many good people, and there are new musicians that are doing great things. Donald Glover is one. He's got some awesome music. What's his face? The piano player. He has a trio. Robert Glasper is another.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there are people, Lupe Fiasco. There are people who are doing some real interesting stuff and pushing the limits, but I'm going to tell you, y'all don't even really need to listen to none of that. Because if you asking for new stuff and you're upset about where things are going in terms of the younger people's artistry, which wasn't created for you anyway, keep that in mind. You know, they ain't thinking about you when they're in the studio. They're not thinking about anybody over 25 years old. So, you know, you can find inspiration now through what you produce yourself, because by now, if you've been listening to music for 20, 30 years, you should have at least some degree of mastery where you can make your own sounds now. That's how it's supposed to go. Just like if you listen to me for 15, 20 years, you should have your own elay or study group or something. You shouldn't be saying, well, what's Chief? Let me see what book he's putting out next or what lecture he's doing. You shouldn't even be listening to me anymore. You should have outgrown me.
Okay.
The end.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anybody have any comments on that? Nobody has anything to say?
Yeah, people don't
wow.
like it. Nobody likes talking.
I don't know. What do you say after Chief speaks?
But yeah, you know, just give it some thought. That's all. You know, especially as Anubians, you're supposed to be well-rounded, male or female. And I think it would help if you even checked out that show I did on the Kama Sutra. And I spoke about those different qualities of divine femininity and womanhood. And, you know, one of that is being able to be a musician. You know, there's a certain quality, and I think Sister Michelle spoke on it earlier, when you can actually perform for your family. You know, sometimes I sit down, I play the piano, or, you know, my family, we're all musicians, so we can't get together without there being a jam session. You know, there's always going to be, you know, in every room in my house, I have an instrument. So someone's going to grab a drum, a bass, a guitar. I have pianos and stuff like that. But even those sensibilities, it opens up for more pure lessons and more pure bonding experiences amongst your loved ones when you are expressing art with each other like that, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right, everybody, we got about 15 minutes left in the show. 515-605-9862. Anybody have any comments after that? Nobody has anything to say?
I'll definitely add something. I'll vouch for what she said. I mean, in terms of the babies, when I pull out the drums, I just see Odin's face light up.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, they love drums.
Alice starts going crazy. Yeah, they love it. They really do. And when it's me, Richard, and the babies together just jamming, the energy is intense. I've never felt anything like that before in terms of it in my house, you know, in my home with family. And it's a new experience, and I definitely recommend it. Even if it's just a simple drum, that energy, it kind of like clears out a lot of stuff in the environment, and just it's such a nice feeling. I also wanted to ask Chief or anybody on the line to explain to me what dabbing is, because you know, I see it all the time, but I really don't understand it. Is it like a drug culture? I don't really get it. I mean, why are they hiding the face?
We'll let our expert dabber explain that if he's still listening.
I'm still here, and Chief, thank you for your breakdown. I took that in very well. The dab is a sign that I just got over on you, or a sign I just did this to the extreme. So what they do, they put their shoulder and their arm up. You know what I'm saying? They kind of do the lean into it. Yeah, like Mr. Universe. Kind of like Mr. Universe, how he gets in that clothes. But got to dab on him, man.
Yeah, or they call it hit the folks, hitting the folks. I mean, they probably call it something different than what we all calling it because we ain't in that culture. So we probably saying it wrong. It's probably really DAP or Daz or DAC. You know what I mean? That sometimes you be so off. You be, because think about when we were a certain age, and our elders would say certain things, and you'd be like, nah, not like that. Like I had a older brother. We still kick it to this day. He's just a little bit older than me, but I remember back in the days, like he would ask me to borrow money or something, and he'd be like, "Come on, man, I really need it, man, on the real side. And I would be like, "No, it's on the real. It's on the, he'd be like, "Come on, it's the same thing, man, on the real side." And I said something totally different, So, back when we say, "Yo, on the real, for real, yo, on the real," we used to talk like that. So, it's not really a part of the thing, but yeah, it's a small little thing. And obviously it's actually a show of almost machismo, in terms of a certain kind of dance, because the way guys dance right now is like extremely feminine. They almost look like pantomimes the way they dance, so that hit the folks is like I'm hitting you with a pose. That's that dab thing. But it ain't really, it's nothing. You know what I mean? It ain't really anything important. Yeah. I mean, they're not making anything today. So it's like most of the stuff that young kids doing nowadays is not really that groundbreaking. They know it. I mean, they're bored with themselves. They ain't really doing anything. But I will tell you something. I'm going to add one thing in, like, in terms of, like, where music is going. Around the mid-'80s, there was a proliferation of cheap Japanese synthesis that started to come out. Most notably, Yamaha had came out with a synthesizer called the DX7, Yamaha DX7, which used a form of synthesis algorithm called FM7, or FM, not FM7, but FM algorithms. Long story short, when you listen to like old Parliament Funkadelic, or you listen to like even Ohio Players, Stevie Wonder especially, they used a lot of what's called modular synthesis. And these were synthesizers that were really like instruments, because you had to really, like, they went out of tune, you had to tune them up, they were overheat, but they were analog, and they had a certain richness in tone and vibration. Of course, if you listen to Stevie Wonder, you hear him all over the place. But even like Atomic Dog, for instance, you're listening to Funkadelic and songs, or Knee Deep, stuff like that. And around that time, the 80s, when the cheaper synthesizers came out, musicians didn't have to put so much work into programming and learning their actual instruments, because they had what was called presets, very similar to like your radio station. You can just, which is part of the problem. That's what I'm alluding to. You could program certain stations in, and you would know what you're going to get from each station, whether you program country, hip hop, R&B, smooth jazz, whatever it is. If I just hit certain buttons, I'm going to get right where I want. But as a musician, and I'm someone who taught other musicians and other people how to produce. So one of the things I would always share was that if you really want to expand your ear, don't program your radio stations. Now, understand that this was back when most radios had a rotary dial, so you're turning it. So I would tell them, no, just when you want to listen to music, just turn the dial until you hear something that you like. Don't worry about what station is, what style of music is. Just turn, and that's how you'll discover new music, instead of sticking to the presets, which was always 98.7 Kids, 107.5, CD 101.9, whatever. So because that new form of even making music via presets came along, that brought a whole different mentality in terms of how music was created. If I want a piano sound, I just hit the piano preset. Now I'm playing. I don't make and customize a piano that sounds like what I want. If you want an example of this, you could listen to like Stevie Wonder's Village Ghetto Land, and you'll understand, like, here's like some heavy synthesis in that. But so now the way music is and where it's going is that you can make music on your phone. You know, you got apps that you could download that are more powerful, you know, in terms of their computing power than computers 30 years ago that filled up an entire room. You know, what you got in your little pocket can do more. So now it's to the place that the average person with no knowledge of music can actually make music.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing and it's a bad thing. You know, it's good because if you've been listening forever, like you said, you know, you got into DJing a little bit, it wasn't really you, but you at least you have an ear for music. You know what you like, what you don't like. You can actually start playing around with like presets and making your own sounds and making your own stuff without necessarily knowing how to play the drums or play the piano, or play the bass or whatever, or even know how to sample. Even you don't even have to know how to sample anymore. You don't even have to know how to put things on time. The computer will quantize it for you and put it on.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so music is going into that space where it's becoming a lot more personal now. But there is another subculture underneath that where you have people who are like myself. I'm still pretty much a purist, and that I have a lot of analog equipment and I like to play. I can sample and use drum machines and stuff, but I'll still always have live elements in my music because of the world that I came from, and I'm older. If I was younger, I'm sure I would probably just be using a tablet or something to make beats and call it a day. But the point I'm saying is that there's now a subculture of many who have rebelled against that whole preset, very sterile, inorganic, lifeless, robotic music, and have kind of taken things back to the 70s. If you listen to the music artist Miguel, or if you listen to Frank Ocean, you hear a lot of that where they're actually using old synthesizers and analog equipment, real pianos, real drum sets, real bass, things like that to try to counter the sterile, metronome, quantized, robotic subculture of the easily accessible music composition now. So it's really going to a more personal experience like so many other things are. And you're going to have to go beyond the presets of your radio station or the presets of your YouTube subscriptions to find that type of music. You might actually have to get out of your house and go to an event. You know, you might actually have to go to a music festival surrounded by people who you wouldn't normally hang out with. You know, you're going to have to move beyond the grid of the presets of your programming in order to tap into the new good stuff or the old good stuff, either one.
Yeah. Don't be surprised when K-Slice come out on y'all.
Yeah, K-Slice. I don't know about K-Slice.
Yeah, I don't know about K-Slice.
What were you saying?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
She said she was looking for an answer.
No, that's the word that I was looking for when I was talking about Erykah Badu, analog. She calls herself analog something. I'm not remembering because I'm at work right now and I'm processing a lot of information.
She doesn't use analog though.
Not anymore.
Yeah, but she said she did, so that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, she says things that sound eclectic. She's gonna say what sounds eclectic and funky to you. But just like Alicia Keys said, her project was what was the first project? In the key of A minor.
Yeah.
There wasn't. Go through that project. There's not one song on that entire project
in A minor.
Not one. You know. So, sometimes people try to say fly stuff to try to make you feel like they're really into their art and stuff. You know, Erykah lucks up because she has really awesome musicians and producers behind her. That's you know, and she started with a really great image, but you know, there's other stuff going on now. You know, there's some stuff that's better than Erykah Badu.
Of course.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying like she was like the top of the notch.
What's all that noise in the background, man? Like, what is that?
Not me.
Somebody saying you making a cabinet or something?
A smoothie.
That's not me yet.
Okay. Because you know we always think it's you, brother. Yeah, but I understand.
One day I'm going to have to pull out a sauce.
I understand you saying she's not the epitome, but, you know, she's brought up a lot of times. more scratching and man.
I like
she's brought up
her wording. I like her wording. But I was thinking about that earlier when you mentioned it, about like some of the things that she says. Like one time she was talking about how she doesn't advocate for being a vegan and things like that. So it got me thinking like, okay, well, what are you advocating? Okay, you're not going to advocate anything because you want to stay neutral and make sure you make your money. So I got that.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, like, if we've absorbed Erica, if there's more, you know, you have to saturate yourself with your artist. And if there's more in terms of her message that we need, then keep feeding. You know, but sometimes you listen to certain artists, like Mos Def is one of them. Like, he's pretty much, he's you know, I don't think he's got too much to say. Yeah, he ain't really got nothing else left to say. You know, but I still enjoy
that apology.
An apology? What did he do?
He had to apologize in order to get his.
Because of the Bush thing and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but but I mean that's a separate issue. He's always doing something off anyway. He's a weird dude. But you know, you absorb what you can, and because each musician or artist or composer you listen to is a teacher. You know, you're having a conversation. And it really is a two-way conversation when you're feeling it. And when you cease to feel it, then, you know, you've gone mute in the conversation. It's time to talk to somebody else. Move around the room, socialize a little bit, mingle. Mm-hmm. You know, find somebody else to talk to. You know, sometimes we pull a little bit on the same person, and they're done. You know, it's like a man when he's done, he's empty. Stop pulling at me, stop yanking at me. I'm empty, you know. Wait till I can fill back up, or maybe this is it. You know, so sometimes we end up doing that, and then we get a little frustrated. But there's a lot of new music out. But like I said, go back to some of the old stuff, and you know. And when I say old stuff, I'm saying the time periods, because a lot of times we fall in love with certain music just based on the memories and the nostalgia that we associate with those time periods, and sometimes we're not inspired by new music now because we're not doing anything inspiring right now. So there is no theme music. We just going to work, coming home, taking care of a bunch of horrible kids. You know, so we feel like, man, my life is horrible. I need some music to perk me up. You know, but before, when you listened to music when you were much younger, the music just spoke to how fly you felt your life already was. You know.
That's true. Yeah. You can see that. Definitely.
Go through something fun.
Can I chime in on that?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I kind of felt guilty about recycling old stuff. I felt like, am I supposed to be listening to new stuff? So, like, I will, you know, venture out and, like you said, listen to music from other cultures and things like that to try to see what's going on. But, yeah, there are, you know, I didn't mean to say like there aren't any new artists out there, because like you said, you got Robert Glasper and a whole bunch of other artists that are out that are doing some awesome things. But go ahead, Anwar.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on what Chief was talking about, is that just getting into that musical vibration and getting, like, for example, the reason why I'm saying this because in the men's call, Brother Dietrich had given me some advice. So I went back and got into my music, and I started to resonate and dance and get into the motion of the energy that I had, and it gave me that stress relief. It gave me that recreation, as he broke it down to me. So, you know, just to put that out, you know, that music, whether it was nostalgic or where we're at, nostalgic or what it's bringing to you, that spirit is needed. That's that energy that we can pull from to make our days even go better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. We've come to the end of the show. Did anybody have any closing remarks or questions or anything that they had? All right. So if not, I'll go ahead and close out. Thank you all for tuning in. And thank you all for listening.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
I knew it was something. Yeah, I knew it.
I keep having problems trying to unmute my phone. Okay. Look, I was just trying to see if am I actually signed up for the women's class, because I haven't gotten anything. I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking for, but I haven't gotten an email with it.
Okay. What's your name again?
My email address?
Or your name? Your name.
Clearly, she doesn't want to give it over the line.
Oh no, that's not it. I was just wondering how was she looking
Witness
for it?
protection. I heard the name. I'll send it to you.
Marquita.
Okay.
I heard what she
Charles.
said. She's the one who I had to fix the issue. The issue that you emailed me about.
Yeah.
Right? You did something twice, right, sister?
Mm-hmm. But I was talking about the women's class too, though.
I know.
Yeah, but you're right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'll find out or email the organizer and make sure that you're included on the list for that.
Okay.
All right.
Is there something that I need to look for, though?
You'll get an email.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. So there we have it. That's today's Friday. That's the end of the Strong. So we'll be back again next Strong, Monday through Friday, same time, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, make sure you visit seduluhouse.com, sign up for classes, get registered, sign up for the men's call, the women's call if you'd like to participate in any of in any of those things. And I'll be back on Monday. All right. Everybody enjoy your day. Peace.